record.
Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Flock on the Pod with Corrupt, me, and Ravens. Um, Today we will be going over the the Jets win. The Ravens win against the Jets, and then of course going into the Week 2 preview against the Miami Dolphins. Ravens, how did you feel about the win we had last week? It was 24-9. We won in a pretty easy fashion, dominating fashion. How did you feel about it?
Yeah, I liked it. Uh, despite suffering two major injuries, I think we did pretty good. Obviously, the two major injuries are our left tackle in that game, Juwan James. Sounds like if Ronnie Stanley isn't ready to go, Pat McCarr will play left tackle. And the other one was Kyle Fuller, which also kind of sucks because Brandon Stevens will be the number 2 cornerback. However, Harbaugh did say that he might try Kyle Hamilton more on the cornerback 2 spot, since Chuck Clark and Marcus Williams both played really well as the 2 safeties.
Yeah, going to the Kyle Fuller thing, he was our nickelback, um, and now Brendan Stevens will be taking that over. But Marcus Peters should be back, so he'll be our second cornerback. Marlon Humphrey, Marcus Peters, and then we'll have Brendan Stevens and, like you said, Kyle Hamilton helping out there. But yeah, the defense played amazing. That was one of the biggest things I took away from this game, especially the front seven. Marcus Williams showed up like he should have. He did very freaking well. And two guys in the front seven that I was really, really impressed with was, you said it too, Patrick Queen. You said he was going to have a big game. And then Justin Matabike. I was really happy with how Justin Matabike did. He had a lot of pressures against Joe Flacco. And I'm really loving this defense. I think I want to see a little bit more action, a little bit more sacks, especially from my guy Odafe Away. I want to see that happen a little bit more. And we definitely have to stop the pass catching running backs. That's one thing the defense has to focus on improving on. But the defense played really freaking well. Now talk a little bit about the offense though. Ravens, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, offensive side, I felt like we played pretty well. Yeah, sure, the injuries on the offensive line, but other than that, I liked what I saw from rookie Tyler Linderbaum. But Ben Powers played really well as our left guard. I thought for sure we were going with Ben Cleveland there, but Powers actually played really good. So I think he'll stay at the starting left guard. And then obviously Kevin Zeitler and Morgan Moses are both veterans. So we expect the respect. Also, you've mentioned Devin Duvernay last video, and he looked really good as our wide receiver too. Caught 2 touchdowns. Got but was basically when Sauce Gardner was covering Bateman, that's when Jackson really looked for Duvernay, and Duvernay really shined.
Yeah, Sauce Gardner had a really good game against us, and he's a promising rookie to watch out for the next couple of seasons. I want to see a little bit more from Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews had a decent game, caught a couple passes, but I need to see more of that red zone threat, get you, number one receiving threat, and who gets you a couple of touchdowns, kind of tight end that I know Mark Andrews can be. The running game kind of struggled a lot, actually, 21 carries throughout the entire offense, and only 61 or 67 yards. Which is the worst in years.
Yeah.
I think I think that's definitely going to change. I think this was a game where they really want to test Lamar Jackson's, just passing, right? They didn't have any designed runs for him, and Lamar Jackson didn't really look to run at all. Actually, I think every single time he looked to pass and never really went like, and then he never really, looked to run, which I think is a good thing. But I think you're going to see a little bit more against the Dolphins. I think you're going to see a little bit more running from Lamar Jackson, and hopefully J.K. Dobbins will be back. I think he will be. And if he is, I definitely think we're going to go past 100 yards again and become one of the best rushing teams in the entire NFL.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Our run game has not been consistent since Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins went down. That was our biggest weakness last year, and that looks to be our biggest weakness this year. So hopefully, once we get them back, we can pick it up. And as I said before, defensive wise, we look really good. Shout out to not only Justin Madubuike, but shout out to Michael Pierce, who I think had a really good game. Odafe Owe was getting shut down like the entire game, it seemed like George Fant was shutting down Odafe Oweh, which was a good thing because it meant Calais Campbell, Desi Madubuike, and Michael Pierce all were able to get space and shut down not only get sacks on Joe Flacco, but shut down Brees Hall and Michael Carter in the run game. So that
Yeah, I'm not too really. This is a game we're supposed to win, right? In fact, we had the score a little bit closer. My score was 24-14. In fact, I think you got 24-14 too last
yeah,
week.
yeah, exactly.
But I think this is the first real test against the Dolphins.
Yeah,
The Jets, they're a young, inexperienced team. They're on the come up though. They have some nice talent over there like Sauce Gardner, Quincy Williams, and Garrett Wilson. A couple of Brees Hall. They have a lot of young talent over there. And maybe Zach Wilson if he develops right. But I think that was the real test. Our first real test is coming up this week against the Dolphins. Now, good thing is we were home. Last year we were away and we lost against them. So to me, this is a revenge game, right? Especially since I went to that Dolphins game and I saw our team lost. So I definitely want to see us just wipe the Dolphins. So what are your thoughts about us facing the Dolphins, Bruce?
yeah. I'm excited for it. I mean, the problem was last time our offensive line got absolutely shredded because they couldn't stop the blitz. Hopefully, fingers crossed, Ronnie Stanley is back and he will help shut down a lot of their blitz packages. And that's one thing I want to see more of, especially with offensive coordinator Greg Roman, is him keeping guys like Pat Ricard and Nick Boyle in the box more to help shut down the extra blitzes, to give guys like Bateman and Duvernay more space in the pass game. That, as well as I'm interested to see if Ronnie Stanley doesn't play, see how Pat McCary will develop, because he has not played left tackle before in his career. He's played right tackle both in 2020 and 2021, but he has not played right tackle, but he has not played left tackle before week 1. So we'll see how he does week 2 if Ronnie Stanley is out. The second thing I want to mention is our wide receiving core. See our receivers develop, especially with not only Mark Andrews, but see how Bateman does once again. I'm really excited to see how Duvernay does once again as wide receiver 2. And it looks like Demarcus Robinson will be our wide receiver 3, which is kind of disappointed because I was hoping it'd be James Prochet, but right now it looks like Demarcus Robinson.
I think I definitely think that James Prochet might have some more chances this week to prove himself. He didn't even get thrown at. In fact, Isaiah Likely also had a couple of looks too, but he made rookie mistakes. I think there's gonna be a lot more. I think you're gonna see Isaiah Likely and James Prochet this week against the Dolphins. Not as much as Duvernay and Rashad Bateman and of course Mark Andrews though. This is gonna be a tough game. I think Dolphins are a formidable foe. They have a very good secondary. They have Xavier Howard leading that secondary group, and they have a couple of good guys on the front seven over there. The Dolphins are it's gonna be a tough matchup. But I think Lamar Jackson. I think this is the week he uses his legs a lot, and I think that's what's gonna help us win the game. Which, spoiler alert, I do have us winning the game. I think defensively the Ravens are better as a group, coaching wise and just talent wise. I think we're definitely better than the Dolphins defensively, and I think that we're going to put a lot of pressure on Tua Tagovailoa. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle will definitely be a problem to have though. But I think we have the secondary to compete against them. Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters is probably, I think the best cornerback duo in the entire league, unless I'm forgetting somebody on top of my head. And then, of course, you have a great safety duo in Marcus Williams and Chuck Clark. So I think we're going to be fine cover. I think this is the perfect matchup. One of the best secondaries versus one of the best receiving cores. So this is going to be a very, very good matchup. But I do ultimately think we're going to win the game. It's going to be a very close one. I'm thinking something like 27-24, something like that. What do you think is going to be the outcome of this game?
Yeah, I have similar thoughts. looking at the Dolphins preview last week, not only did their defense absolutely destroy Mac Jones, and their D line completely kill the Patriots O line, which could be a problem. Our O line really needs to hold up. And Miami's D line looks like a big formidable foe. But Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle killed the Patriots secondary. And fingers crossed, Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters and Marcus Williams don't suffer the same fate. But I do have the same. I do have a same prediction. I think we win. I'm saying 28-24. I think it's gonna be a last second victory. I think it's gonna be very close all the way to the very end. Don't think either team. I think the Ravens will have an advantage, but I don't think it's a huge advantage. Like obviously, coaching John Harbaugh's a veteran, and obviously the Ravens defense will probably be offense at least will be better. Defense is still close. The Dolphins defense looks to be really good this year. But I think we'll probably win 28-24, something like that.
Yeah, this is gonna be a very close game. I think a lot of people are underrating the Dolphins in this one. I can't wait to watch this game, man. My heart's gonna be pumping the entire time, man. And I really, really, really want to be the Dolphins. I'm still so mad that I paid those tickets just to watch my team lose. But I think it's a very close game. I think it's gonna come down to a Justin Tucker field goal, and we're gonna win the game because of Justin Tucker. It's gonna prove why we have the best kicker ever and the best kicker in the NFL currently, Justin Tucker, the goat. So that's what I have out
there. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and then look, preview more toward the game itself. Not only does our offense need to hold up against the Dolphins' pretty formidable D line, but defensive wise, we need to hope. Is week 2 last year, Marlon Humphrey shut down Tyreek Hill. That was one of the Ravens' biggest strengths against Kansas City last year. But it wasn't Tyreek Hill that killed us, it was Travis Kelce. And because Marlon Humphrey did really well against Tyreek Hill, and hopefully he does the same thing here. And maybe we'll see Marcus Peters or Kyle Hamilton on the other side trying to eliminate Jalen Waddle. So hopefully our defense holds up this week against the Dolphins heavy wide receiving core. The something else about Tua is that what they noticed about Tua is that if the all line collapses, he panics and he ends up having a couple really bad passes. So hopefully in that case, we see more from Michael Pierce and Jesse Madubuike and Odafe and Calais Campbell on that front four, and make sure he gets the ball out sooner so that we can avoid the deep passes, basically.
Is that everything that we want to go through?
I guess let's go through our player of the game.
Yes, that's right.
On offense, my player of the game is going to be, I'm going to say Devin Duvernay is going to be our offensive player of the game. I think Xavier Howard will probably be on Bateman the entire game. And with that, it's going to open a lot of chances for Duvernay on the other side. And I think with those chances, Duvernay will make the most of it, and I think he'll have a really good game.
I think I'm gonna go with I think this will be the first this is MVP type of Lamar Jackson we'll see again, and it's gonna be against the Dolphins like in 2019. This is gonna be an amazing week for Lamar Jackson. I think it's been true I can play against great defenses and still hold my ground and still pass well while rushing too for a lot of yardage. This is gonna be Lamar Jackson's week.
Nice. And as for defensive, I'm gonna go dark horse and say Michael Pierce. I think he's gonna have a really good game not only do I think he'll slow down Chase Edmonds and Raheem Mostert in the run game, but you'll see a lot of Michael Pierce when Tua drops back the pass, and you see Michael Pierce go through the O line and get a lot of pressures and sacks on Tua.
I think the defensive player of the game will be probably, I think it'll be Marlon Humphrey. I think he's in due for like a shutout game against an elite corner. I think he's like he should have that game coming up soon. And this would be the first time people like see him in like in his actual role, right? In years previous past, he hasn't really played as like a shutdown corner. He's been kind of like all over the place, all over the field. They're playing in the box sometimes. You saw that a little bit in against the Jets. He played in the box and got quarterback pressure. But I think this will be the week he's going to go against Tyreek Hill, and I think that Tyreek Hill is going to struggle a little bit against Marlon Humphrey, which might be a little bit surprising because Tyreek Hill is freaking fast. But I think Marlon Humphrey is going to keep up, and it might not show on the box score, but I think Marlon Humphrey is going to be able to shut down Tyreek Hill, or very much limit him, not to have a Tyreek Hill type of performance. So I think Marlon Humphrey will be our player of the game.
And then finally, the dark horse player of the game, the person who you don't expect, who not many people are expecting to be really good, but could look to have a really good game this week. I'm gonna go O line, and I'm gonna say it's Tyler Linderbaum, because we know the Dolphins front seven is going to be really formidable, and they could provide a lot of problems for the offense. But I think this is the game where Linderbaum breaks out and shows why he was the first round pick, and shows that he can be that guy moving forward, on that captain on the O line.
Yeah, you know what? I think my underrated player of the week will be probably the underrated player of last week's game, Justin Adebike. I think he's going to be, like how you said for Michael Pierce. I think he's going to be the one to disrupt that Dolphins line and get a couple pressures, maybe even sacks against Tua Tagovailoa. I really do think Justin Adebike is due for a breakout year. I feel very confident in Justin Adebike. Everybody's been loving him, especially throughout training camp. So I think this will be Justin Adebike I think it'll be the dark horse for this game.
I guess before we wrap up, final thoughts. I think we'll be really. I think this will show why the Ravens are projected to be a top threat in the AFC this year, and this game will show not only offensively that even if we don't have a strong run game, we can pass the ball downfield and get it done. But defensively, where this will be the game where our secondary will once again slow down the receiving core of the Dolphins, with not only Tyreek Hill, but Mike Gesicki and Jalen Waddle as well.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think this would be the game where it's like, oh, first off, Lamar Jackson. I think it would be like, oh my goodness, Lamar Jackson. He threw and rushed amazingly well. So I think he's gonna put himself back on the map. Of course, there's always gonna be haters for Lamar Jackson, which I don't understand at all. He's like one of the most humble players in the entire league. But yeah, I agree with you. I think after we beat the Dolphins, I think we're gonna be like, whoa, the Ravens defense and offense both look really good. Lamar Jackson looks really good, and they don't even have their starting running backs yet. Wait until they get that run game complete, and maybe some of the receivers, 100%. This is going to be a really freaking scary team to watch out for. And I think that I agree with you. I think that's what's going to happen after this week. And I think the Dolphins-Ravens game could be the best game of all of week 2. I really do believe so. I think it's come down to the wire. I know there's other good games like Eagles and Vikings. That's a very good game. But I really, really do believe that the Ravens-Dolphins will be the best game of the week, and it's come down to the wire.
Yeah, not only do we get Gus Edwards back mid-season, but we also get Tyus Bowser and David Ojabo. Once we get those guys back mid-season, that's when we'll really start to see this team pick it up and show that they're not a team to mess with. I guess we'll see how they do week 4, because week 4 is going to be Buffalo, and that's going to be a huge test. But for now, this team could be a bit of a threat in the AFC, at least.
Yeah, man, I completely forgot them. Like I knew like they were injured, but I completely forgot them coming back. Honestly, I thought they were gonna come back sooner rather than later. But yeah, man, I can't wait to see them come back. It should be a very fun, exciting season. We're gonna be playing very well. We don't even have our entire squad. Like we don't have our full squad. I think that's very exciting. Is that it?
Yeah, I think that's everything. I guess let's do the outro. Ravens. That is Morgan, aka Corrupt, and guess we'll see you guys next Wednesday for our weekly prediction.
Bye bye.